Session is being recorded. So some people, Chat GPT is the new iteration of artificial intelligence. It's gotten a lot of attention. They broke it in November, and it's gotten a lot of attention since then within the academic circles. There have been what we call essay generators at play for a few years. And the one that I was most familiar with, you would go to that program and you would type in a topic sentence, and it would give you 3 paragraphs, introductory paragraphs from which you could choose. And you would make that choice, and based on that choice, it would give you 3 paragraphs that would be the next paragraph, and you could choose from one of those 3, and so on and so forth until you're able to choose 5 pre-written paragraphs. And that was it was pretty good. The thing that told on that one was the in-text citations and the reference page, because it used a ton of research done by international researchers. So when I get a paper that a student has written and it's listed 3 papers developed in Russia with 18 or more authors, I'm thinking this is a pretty complex paper for a first year English student to use and cite and do it correctly. So it kind of threw up some flags. Chat GPT, you just type in what you want. You can just type in, write me a 1,000 word persuasive essay on the dangers of smoking. And then boom, just hit go and sit back and let it take off. So, and it's a little bit more difficult. You have to tell it that you want to use in-text citations. It's a little bit more difficult to maneuver or to get the in-text citations and the reference page done. And that's the big downfall of it as far as academic writing is concerned. But I don't know. I think it's important to learn how to do a lot of these things longhand. You guys have a math class where they, well, maybe in math classes now, they teach you to use the calculator right off the bat instead of learning how to
There's
do
still some
everything
of
in
it you
one.
have to write. You have to write it out. Yeah.
So do they give you like points off if you don't put on all the steps and stuff?
Right, right. You get half points.
So at
Well,
some
the
point,
one I'm in doesn't do that. Like the college class doesn't, but in school, like high school, it does.
yeah. So your college class lets you use the calculator right away?
Yes.
Okay, well
Mostly. Yeah, mostly.
lucky you. I remember I would have some students that I share with a math teacher, and they would always be complaining because they got the right answer, but they didn't get there the same way. And so the math teacher would write, -5 or whatever for missing steps. And that's sort of what artificial intelligence does for an English class. It lets you get the paper done relatively painlessly, I guess. But it doesn't always do everything. It leaves out enough that you have to go back and do it, or if you don't do it, it stands out as something that wasn't touched on. So I
I don't
tell
like it.
students, you don't like it?
I like the longhand stuff.
Well, ChatGPT is one of the new 5 side hustles I wish I'd known earlier. So you can go to a web page where they're looking for freelance writers and sign up to write a 9,000 word short story for, 150 or $200. Then go over to ChatGPT and tell it, write me a 9,000 word story on Christmas tree forms. And then about 30 minutes later, it finishes your story, and you just cut and paste it. And apparently nobody knows the difference.
Wow.
But you make a good point, and that is that it's important to know the steps if you ever get to a place where you're relying on your own skills. So that's kind of where we are, and I cannot hide from AI as much as I would like to. Students usually find it first. So I tell students, if you need to rely on AI, do so at your own risk. Because if I find a paper that's written with international international citations, I'll ask you to defend that. And if you don't know, I'm going to assume that you didn't write the paper. So I think I've already gotten a couple. I've gotten a couple that were really, really nicely written, and either those students did really well in high school or they went to Chat GPT, and I'm still trying to figure out how to tell. Getting after you guys about that. Okay, so enough about AI. Use it at your own risk, right? Um, so here's the thing. What can I tell you tonight about writing in a persuasive tone that you don't already know? Please tell me nothing. You already know it all. Please. This will be the shortest collaborate ever.
Well, I'm still. I haven't started on their persuasive paper and APA style. I was looking at the topics. I think that's where it's hard for me to decide on which topic to choose.
That is true, and a lot of students get stuck with the topic choice. And that's the reason that I say you can use one of mine or choose one of your own. Writing in general, it's more fun and it's more I don't know what's the right word, satisfying, I guess, when you have written your own thoughts, when you have written about something that is important to you and that you have a stake in. So choosing your own topic usually means you have a closer connection to that topic and to the writing assignment that you're doing. That's very important. When we get to research writing, it's very important, and everybody will have to choose their own topic for research writing, just because that's such a big paper and you get so close to it. For the first persuasive paper, I think I said it before, I choose very boring topics on purpose because I don't want to offend somebody by having everybody write about the same topic that somebody disagrees with or doesn't like. So I give you very boring stuff. And
Well, to me, it
here's the
isn't
thing.
boring. It's the fact that they're all valid topics that can be talked about, and they do hold interest, but it's there's so many ideas that come with it. Every topic that I have read, I'm like, oh, I can write about this, that, and the other. And I read the other one. Oh, well, I could do that one too. And so it's
So you've got information overload, right?
yeah.
So yeah, that can happen too. And let's see, you've got to think about this. If you're writing a persuasive paper, let me see if I can put up share my screen here. Application, blank whiteboard, text. So let's see. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is to choose a topic, right? And if that topic is something that is important to you, good. If it's not something important to you, with the right skill set, you can still write a very valid paper about it. But here's the thing, the topic must be, where'd my little doolally go? Must be arguable, meaning there must be a plus side or a negative side. Did I spell arguable correctly? Argue,
It's not showing up on my end.
What? It's not sharing for y'all?
I mean, I see the persuasive writing and the topic, but I don't see the other.
The word arguable.
Not yet.
I see the same thing she does. There it goes.
Okay, there it is.
Okay, so it only shows it to you, I guess, when I get out of the box. Maybe I spelt that correctly. But what that means is that it has to have, right, positive and a negative argument. Okay, so let's think about one of the ones that I post is um, smoking cigarettes, right? The hazards of smoking. So
Right.
what is the negative side to smoking?
It's bad for your health.
Okay. Can you think of anything else?
Uh,
One a lot of people use causes lung cancer.
right.
Causes lung cancer, emphysema, heart disease. Anything? Can you think of something other than health that it affects?
People secondhand smoke, people around you.
All right, I'm gonna lump that in with health still. It's a different
Okay.
kind of health issue. But what about the
Oh,
cost? Are you familiar with how much? If you don't smoke, you don't know how much they cost, but I think they cost around $6 or $7 a pack now. So
Yeah, some around now.
if you smoke 2 packs a day, how much do you spend in a year on cigarettes?
too much.
Yeah. And if you have a half a case of beer every night while you're smoking your 2 packs of cigarettes, then what happens to your budget?
It keeps going up and up.
Yeah. And I understand, beer and cigarettes aren't necessarily linked, but that's the idea. So now, but think about this. What is the positive side to smoking cigarettes?
It helps with your stress.
Okay. So there is a positive side, right? So
Right.
if you think about it, you could probably make a positive argument. Cigarette smoking for some people is good. It helps relieve stress. I don't know what else it does. I'd have to do some research to find out to learn. But yeah, I mean, I could say that certain people should be allowed to smoke, and you know, smoking is or the common response to smoking is overblown.
I have
So
seen on firsthand what it looks like for someone to try and quit. Sometimes I'm like, just grab a cigarette and smoke.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go buy
it'd be
you
a
some.
whole, be a lot easier to get along with if you just have a cigarette.
Yeah, my brother's one
Yeah,
of them.
I have the same problem with chocolate, right? My wife, sometimes I'll try to say, I'm gonna get healthy. I'm gonna quit eating chocolate. And she'll just stand on the other side of the room and throw me a Tootsie Roll and say, "Here, eat something." Kind of like the Snickers commercial, you're not yourself if you're hungry. So
I
when
find
you're
that
thinking
commercial
about it,
very accurate.
isn't it true? It is. So it has to be arguable, and it has to have and to be arguable, it has to have a positive and a negative side. You have to be able to argue either side. Certain certain topics like smoking lend themselves to the negative argument, just because of where we are in today's society with science and medicine and what we know about the hazards of cigarettes. Um, but that's kind of an important thing when you start thinking about. Let me let's say. Okay, so that is a topic sentence, right? Short and sweet. It gives me the topic of the paper and the position the paper will take. Smoking is bad, which means we're going to talk about the negative aspect of smoking. And the next thing we've got to do is to put in the the statement of development, right? Uh,
So now when we're writing this, do we put the references in or is it just the persuasive writing itself?
have to put the references in.
Okay.
How many do we need?
Oh, uh-oh, did y'all hear my timer? So
Yeah, I
let's
can hear it.
go. Let me stop the